All right, stay tuned for Impact Zone with Francis Walsh. Today's episode is sponsored by Nighthawk. If you would like to sponsor your favorite host, please visit our site at www.freedomslips.com and visit the site support area. Thank you.
Revolution Radio. You're listening to Revolution Radio, where it's 53 degrees, and I've got Joe Anunnaki on the phone. Hey, Joe, what would you like to hear?
We are observing your Earth.
I'm sorry, Joe, but we can't.
And we'd like to make
sorry, Joe, but
a contact with you.
Collision Course.
It is essential for our survival to use these powerful tools in the most humane and wise way. And the only way to guarantee that is not to shuffle the responsibility off to somebody else, but to make sure that every citizen understands science and technology to some extent.
Lighten up, Francis.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday, February 24th. It's Cosmic Obsession Observy, the night before first light. I'm running around with my chicken head cut off. Bok, bok, bok. But anyways, enough of that. Listen, I've got Mr. Too Tough coming on the line. Let's go call Mr. Too Tough and pull him in because me and Mr. Too Tough don't talk. So let's, wait a second, I did that wrong. Let's pull him in here. Say hello to Mr. Too Tough. Billy. Just make sure his call's going through. Hey, Billy, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We don't need a picture, do we?
Don't need a picture. Listen, you got to turn your sound down a little bit. If you got headphones, that'd be great, too.
No.
Oh, it's okay. I won't talk too loud. See, what happens is I talk loud, and then I can hear myself in the background. But how are you today, Billy?
Turn the speaker down, something like that. Doing fine, man. How you doing, Francis?
I don't know, but I have a feeling, sometimes when I hear someone talking in an accent, I don't know if anybody does this, but you catch yourself talking like the other person somehow, like they're going to understand you better.
I do the same exact thing, bro.
So I'm going to see if I can talk to Mr. Billy.
Well, we both down here, that we can't help it from being in the South.
Yeah.
Is it raining over there, too? Is it raining?
What are you doing? Are you putting a bad juju on me? Do you know what's going on, Billy?
It's storming here. We got tornado watches right here.
Well, I hope everything's all right. Tomorrow night is Cosmic Obsession Observatory's first light, Billy.
No way.
Yeah, way. Tomorrow night, if you go to the nightskiesnetwork.com, I don't know if you've ever been there, really cool site, nightskiesnetwork.com, and you free sign up. You got to register a name, and then you log in. You see a live telescope feeds from a bunch of people, but tomorrow will be from us. We're going to do a webcam. You get to see inside the observatory. You get to see us set up the telescopes, and then you get to see if we have. I think the phrase, what's going to happen tomorrow is we're going to have sucker holes in the clouds, Billy.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's okay.
You'd be lucky. Well, I don't know. Like you said, partly clouded. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen anyways, and we're happy anyways because, there's not much more you can do to the observatory but turn it on at this point, my friend.
The weather gods will be with you.
Weather gods will be with us. There'll be plenty of clear nights, and there's only one. You can only do first light one time. First light represents the first time you open up the aperture of an observatory and the night sky hits the lenses. Now, it's kind of a gray area because, of course, in the background, we've done a little bit of that, but we haven't broadcasted. So tomorrow, and we do a live broadcast through the telescope on that Night Skies Network. But you know what? I could literally, because my head is so wrapped up Cosmic Obsession Observatory, I could talk about it. And in fact, I'm probably going to try for the next 3 hours, but I don't want to do that. I want to get to know. It's not like I want to get to know you because I think that's a silly way. It's like I'm going to get to know you in 5 minutes. That's not how it goes, of course.
Right.
So I'll tell you honestly, we haven't spoken at all, hardly at all, right?
Well, not really personally, no.
No, not
other than I think we made a couple comments back and forth. That's about it.
Yeah.
Once.
And I think what I did, I think one day through was in my travels, and it's on YouTube, and it's from Facebook or wherever else it is. I decided that I needed to talk to you, and I sent you an email. And now what I'm proposing happened, or supposing that happened, even though supposing or assuming is not a good thing, is that you probably mentioned it with your contacts, and they said, yeah, maybe you should go talk to him, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I was out, as we all were at that time, looking for Elaine with my little 6-inch telescope, and I couldn't find it, and so I got online and was looking for others that had telescopes, out in the backyard looking, and sure enough, you popped up, and that thing you had, I'm like, look at here, man, and he's looking for Elaine too, so that pretty much I can move on and do something else because he's going to see it long before I do. And I missed the episode of your videos, and that's totally my fault, where you showed that you went to the Gross network to, which is totally fine. That's great because, you got pictures, but you got pictures that everybody else has got, that was cool. And, but nonetheless, that was something else. I was glad to find somebody else looking for the same thing, the truth. That's all I want, the truth.
Yeah, and that's why I was doing it. I wasn't doing it to come back, but it's hard, honestly, it's hard for every listener and viewer in the world to know exactly where I'm coming from. And though it's easy to try to say, well, they should know where I'm coming from, I know that some of my videos, what I lack in is a full explanation sometimes of what's going on. I'm just taking footage, putting it up, and I don't go back. So, I know that through that whole experience of Lenin, I probably came in more contact than I'd had in 20 years previous. Now virtually, yes, but when you interact with what turns out to be thousands of people and their opinions, you can't get a full grasp of everybody. So that's why I decided, because I know for myself that we travel in a lot of the same circles. We have a lot of the same friends. Now, I know that's true for people that I don't want to talk to because, we've either moved on, moved past, or have different views. Because seriously, Mr. Tutu, there's some research that I can't spend any more time on because it's taken it away from the time that I should be doing something else. You know what I mean?
It's entirely too much for one to keep up with.
So, and the way I've said it is, well, I just have to put it behind me a little bit, and because I'll just find myself being involved in other people's research, and I should be doing more because I found that I was doing less. Now, the construction and everything of this observatory, I'll be glad when Sunday gets here, excited for Saturday, for tomorrow, happy when Sunday gets here because then everything can start settling down because I really, literally have a lot to do. And so, what are you looking at these days? What's piqued your interest? Do you feel that you're in a lull? I mean, I have no idea. Don't think that
I feel like I'm going deeper in than I ever was, ever have before. I don't know. It's a roller coaster kind of, I've always loved the stars. I've always sat out and watched the skies since I was a boy, But here lately, I've just been. I mean, these things that have happened in my shop out here. This is quite profound. And once you start reading into it, we're like Suspicious Observer and I, we have been really digging hard into, and the information is just laying right out there. It's just right there in front of us.
Well, it's piling up. I'm going to say that there's a lot of information piling up on something's doorstep. And I know that we all have, I suppose you can break it down to different doorsteps. Like there's all this happening about, political situations, and then there's all this stuff on a doorstep of Earth changes. And I'm not going to deny it, but I'm still at a point where I don't know what the door is I don't know the door that the stuff is laying in front of yet. And so, and it's even hard. I'm finding this year that we're kind of going over the topics that we were last year. You notice, and I'm not saying anything. Again, this is just me thinking openly. We're hearing about New Madrid Fault, and this is more. And now there's reason. There was an earthquake there, and they were having activity. So I'm seeing, and I'm going to say again, it feels like Groundhog Day, doesn't it, Billy?
Yeah, if you can't feel it, something's wrong with you. I think at this point, almost anybody that's got a half a brain can feel it.
Okay, well then let's go then to the next step, because you said the person with half a brain knows it. And when I think of that, as soon as you said that, I'm thinking, well, then that person is smart enough to know about going and still enjoying life and stuff. Isn't that a part? Are we forgetting to enjoy life through this, Billy, at all?
I think we are certainly doing that. That would be a valid point.
And so, and I don't know where this conversation is going, so it's just going to go freestyle. So, okay, we have a bunch of stuff to worry about, but I just want to always convey some sort of message, like, because potentially, and I've said it before, we may not get the answer before our time is up.
Yeah.
And we are only one person. We are a group of people together, and we will fall off one by one. So I think it's important to, as the group, keep us all focused. So great job for everything that you do, and hopefully I'm doing a good job. But then as my individual side looks at it, is that I need to remember, I want my friends to remember to have, put effort into enjoying life as well. So, and now listen, I've been talking, and I don't know anything more about Mr. Tutu. Let's see. Let me talk about what like the last stuff that I saw. Last stuff I saw, and I hope if I've missed a bunch of stuff that I should see, forgive me. I saw you blowing up the balloons.
Yeah.
I watched the heck out of those.
Yeah, that's something else that blew me away too.
What was in the balloons?
Those are plasma, as best I can tell from.
But I mean, what did you?
Evidence.
Was it argon? Argon in the balloon?
No, it's hydrogen, and you could go down to any type of air product store, welding shop, and buy pure hydrogen in a bottle, and you can ignite that in a balloon, and it won't do what that does. It's a hydrogen fuel cell I made myself. They're online. Everybody's building them. There's several thousand people by now that's actually built these at their own house. They're really quite simple. But, when you apply electric current to water, regular tap water, I use regular tap water right out of my well. It splits the molecules or the elements into, separate elements. The molecule splits from hydrogen into, hydrogen and oxygen. And what's so intriguing about it is the fact that it splits it at a ratio that is highly flammable. Because, I don't know if you know about the triangle of fire.
I do.
All in physics is called, about the triangle of fire. There's three ingredients to have fire. One is a spark, and oxygen, and then a fuel of some sort. So in other words, nothing will burn without all three of those present. You see, and the fact that that the sun is burning on its outside, and the fact that all these particles are being measured coming into our atmosphere at the poles. This does not go with what they've been telling us.
Well, that's correct. And tonight's Collision Course, even though you might have heard the intro for Collision Course, this is another show. Tonight we're going to be, I don't know if this has a relevance, but I believe it does to the electric universe theories. So I'm going to talk with my friend Stone Clark about some of that, because I'm finding that I'm a little bit confused about it as well, okay? And it's fair to say that when I look at the sun, when I look at space weather, and I've been doing a lot of looking at space weather recently, that we're talking about charged particles, that we're basically talking about electricity, okay? And so I'm interested to know more, and I want to know if the if like science has left it as an obvious thing, even though it's described in a separate way. But then, you know what I mean?
I think they fully have done that. I mean, that information's just sitting right out there. They fully admit all these. See, a charged particle is a charged matter. A particle is matter. That's matter.
Yeah, it goes through the Higgs.
So it could be any
mechanism.
type of element or a mixture of elements, molecules. But at any rate, a particle is matter itself, and a plasma is a highly charged particle. you know.
And honestly, those charged particles, if no one knows, are highly affected by magnetic fields.
Yes,
They're a part of magnetic fields. They're highly They're highly affected by it. And when that weather reaches the front of the magnetosphere, you know what happens, Billy? A lot of those charged particles will do a charge exchange and pile up at the front of our magnetosphere. Mm-hmm. And I'm doing some research into that, because when that charge exchange occurs and turns into an energetic neutral particle, they're no longer controlled by magnetic fields, and they dart away in every direction, and that's straight back down onto Earth.
Yes, and that's almost pretty much what happens with those balloons pop. Those little particles just go in all kinds of directions. But I've caught several of them that you see them, they pass through something. You can see them, they bombard something, and then they split off into these spikes in every direction. And it doesn't seem to affect the particle. The particle just seems to pass right through and keep going. Yet you can see them come in contact with something, as though it were a magnetic field of some sort, you know, a natural current, a natural earth field or something. It's something else. But the fact is, that's how you make water. You burn hydrogen and oxygen, and that creates water. That's how the two molecules the two elements come together. So you take the hydrogen fuel cell and split the elements, you know, and then when you light it, burn it, they go right back together again and create water vapor.
So you were creating steam and water when those... Yeah,
that's exactly what that is. That's just creating water vapor.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Because I know in this day and age, YouTube and our connections and our networks are very important. And I think, you know, YouTube and Facebook and the content we're producing individually is important to what's going on, and everybody's understanding what's going on. I want to ask you a question about cameras. And it just came to me. Again, these questions are not preformed. They're just popping into my head. How much, is it fair to say that at sometimes we see more in the image from the camera that may be there? Now I'm going to say this. Let me say this before, because I would agree that the camera picks up things we wouldn't see. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. But I'm just saying overall, do you think we're getting too much bad camera work and having to research it, or is that fair to say in any way, or is it the camera doesn't lie? You talking about YouTube overall? Well, no, I actually want to talk, because we deal with things like the second sun and sun dogs and sun flares and camera effects. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you have to, it's kind of like, discernment. Most of that is that person standing behind that camera. Because you know as well as I do, if you go out there and take a picture of the sun, you can make a sundog appear anywhere on it you want. And if you hold another lens in front of your camera, you can actually make it look like it's moving with the camera. It won't move. It'll move. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And in fact, I hadn't even thought of that. And you're right.
These people that are putting these videos out like that, it really, every time, if it's a creditable person, I haven't really seen a creditable person come out and say that, but every time that it does come across my desk and I'm able to go outside and look, I take my welder lens out there and look, for myself, without a camera. You know what I'm saying? I also have some red laser glasses you look at lasers with, on the job site, and you can look at the sun with those pretty good too.
Yeah. I'm looking in the chat room, and Mr. Stone Clark, my friend, who's going to be on there, said, a picture says 1,000 words, Francis. And I just feel, though, that maybe out of those 1,000 words, maybe there's 200 words that we didn't need. You know what I mean? That just end up being presented wrong in the wrong way and told to us like we should believe something else.
A lot of times people do that just to poison the well, too, We got a big problem with infiltration.
Well, I've learned that there's, my friends included, I don't know who, what, when, where, or how, but I've come to the understanding that there is an entertainment value, okay? Now, I don't want to, it's a tough thing to say, because one person will call it entertainment, but, I look at it as a whole group. If you spend a whole lot of time looking into some of the videos that really make you have to stretch your imagination, yes, you're doing research in places maybe other people aren't looking, but is it benefiting you by taking that leap of faith every time, or more often than not? So I ask that question because I know that sooner or later a camera is going to present something that the naked eye wouldn't have seen. And so just because it looks strange doesn't mean it's not real. I'm just saying overall I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I can quickly discern, critical thinking, as something that isn't what it's being described as. So
yeah, most of that, like I said, you can go check yourself. I mean, that's been my whole point the whole time, you know. Even with Comet Lean, you know, I want to see it in the front yard, you know, kind of like, you know, like Lovejoy, you know, the whole southern hemisphere saw that thing.
I know we missed it.
You know.
We missed it. I mean, I didn't.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah, I saw it through other people's eyes, and I give myself the permission to say that's okay, because I've been giving myself permission left and right these days to see things through other people's eyes and not get upset about it. To let some stuff go by me because I have to pay attention to other stuff. So I wonder, do you feel that you're changing? Because I feel like I'm changing. And maybe it's the radio shows and whatever else I'm doing that's making me change through this process. But do you find is your process in any way changing? Is your thought pattern changing? Are you being affected to change? You know what I mean?
Leaps and bounds. Over the past 3 years, I'm not the same person I was, and you can ask anybody in my family that question too.
Let me do this update because I know how you feeling. Every time, because I know you have one specific issue, but how you feeling? Okay these days?
Yeah,
because people care about you.
The neck feels great. You know,
they want to know.
Arthritis, man. It's arthritis and it's tough, especially like days when it's raining like this here. It's just pain, Francis. That's all it is. Just pain.
Yeah, and I don't have to deal. I personally have. I don't have to suffer through that, and so I feel for you, and and I just feel for you. And I know a lot of people want to hear how you're doing, so I asked. Okay, let me think of more stuff. Let's see. We have this new object outside of Mars that Miss Vaubear brought up to me. Hi, Miss Vaubear. This is what I'm going to do. Let me say hello to everybody while I got a chance here. Because everybody who comes into the chat room, they're such good friends, and they listen so intently to me that I have to thank them and say hello. And, of course, Nighthawk, who sponsored today's show, which was thank you and surprise. And why and how lucky can I be? But hello, Acid. Hammerhead, the Crow. I love listening to the market report this morning while I was doing my writing. So the Crow, thank you very much. Vaubear, hello, my friend. Weisenberg, I have not seen the banner yet. Normally what happens when I'm doing the shows, I can't hardly click on anything. But thank you for that. I'm going to check it out. Princess, hello. I don't think I've seen you in a while. SJ, how are you, my friend? Francis, how you doing? I'm doing fine. Thank you very much. Hangman, Jersey Skies, Long B. Mr. 2, I've been talking right to you. So Mr. Stone Clark, Norris Boy, 4417, Tobias 2, and Tremjar. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are around the world. You're listening to the Impact Zone on freedomslips.com. It is a listener-supported radio station. You can now sponsor a show, your favorite show if you like, by clicking on the site support button and see what Nighthawk has done for us and the listeners by breaking down each show. And if you come and listen to a show regularly, you can go ahead and say, I support that show. Sponsor it, and then you'll get a shout out at the beginning. If you've got something to promote or whatever, you can do that too quickly. But take a moment, support the website. I want to thank Mr. Too Tough for coming, but we're not done yet because we still got another half hour. Do you have another half hour to spend with me?
I got plenty of time, bro.
Okay. Tell me, where are, I'm sure you told me, and I'm just going to, I'm going to play my short-term memory, long-term memories shot. What state? You're in Mississippi, and I'm going to get it wrong. Probably.
South Georgia.
South Georgia. Yeah. And born and raised?
Born and raised, right here.
Yeah. I'm originally from Massachusetts. I'm in Texas now, but I'm originally a Yankee, northern person. And the reason how I got down to Texas, I'm the youngest of four. My oldest is a sister who married a geologist who came and worked for the oil field, So I came from a small town in New England, and honest to God, New Englanders, man, they're tough to live with, my friend. And it's expensive as all get out up there. Okay, you get an apartment up north, you need that first, last, extra month, and then before your mother, and all this other stuff. And I don't know how it is in Georgia, but I came down to Houston, and it's like half off of everything down here. So, if you haven't ever been to Texas, or I'm not sure how it is in Georgia.
I actually have kinfolk in Texas out there. Yeah, sure have. I went out a few times when I was, younger with, my parents. Took a couple week vacations, went out to Texas. My Uncle Randy lives out there. And his wife. Or he used to. His wife and kids still live there. So.
Well, let me just say I love Texas because, honestly, right there, just by making a geographic move, you are literally saving lots of money on things that you pay for up north that I don't know why you pay any more for it, but that's the thing. So, and that brought me down here back in the 90s. Now, married and with a Texan son, and we're never going back. Well, I wasn't going to go back, but we'll probably go back for the long rest. You know what I mean, Billy?
Yeah.
Listen, I really would like to find out more of your viewpoint on the situation. We could talk about small things, but you spoke about suspicious observers, and he's a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll be on tonight, and he does this. I love the 2-minute, 3-minute, 4-minute updates. I'll look at his updates a lot because he goes out and, dives right in, brings it out in the morning. You get to read it, get to see what people are thinking about, and then you can move on. And he comes on Collision Course sometimes in the beginning and does that report for everyone to listen to. But, he's always got his eye on this, huh?
Yeah, he's outstanding.
Do you find yourself as busy as him?
No. Well, not in the, it depends on how you call it busy, I guess. I'm a hands-on, man. I always loved to work with my hands. That's what I always did. I'd rather be sitting out there by myself doing something on the table than I would anywhere near this computer. But nonetheless, the fact that I found, that man, it is unbelievable the amount of web information that I tell you, I truly don't believe Mr. Coleman was all that far off with his, predictions of last year, because I think the full conscious awakening had a lot to do with the release of universal knowledge in its own right. You see what I'm saying? And I think that all the knowledge is out. It's there. It's just a matter of us putting it together at this point. I have had no trouble finding much of anything here lately. In fact, you can talk to Suspicious about this. It's like it's almost falling in our laps. It is almost as though they are watching us for the information.
Okay. Listen, we're going to do a half-hour break. That's what that music is. So we're going to come back on the other side, and I am going to ask you about your creation series.
All right.
Okay. Talk to you in a bit.
Good deal.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio. We'll be right back after this short break, so stay tuned. TotalTruthRadio.com.
Total Truth Broadcasting Network is selling affiliate radio stations. What does that mean? Ever wonder if that radio talk show or the 6 o'clock news you're listening to is reporting important facts or just plain old fluff? Presenting a smokescreen to cover up what's really going on in the world. But of course they are looking out for your best interests, right? I don't think so, but that's where you come in. Become the proud owner of your own radio station, operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. Broadcasting live, presenting facts and ideas, asking the tough questions, and reaching like-minded people who together will demand answers. Discussion, debate, freedom of speech, I know these are words that inspire you. At TotalTruthRadio.com, this is all possible. Own a business? What better addition to your marketing plan? A radio station dedicated to the customers you serve, promoting your products, detailing the benefits. A perfect way to boost your revenue. For only $50 a month, I repeat, $50 a month, you can broadcast live over the airwaves and have your opportunity to speak. And take it from me, it really couldn't be easier. You might ask, how can I do this? I'm no Casey Kasem. A radio station? Surely it's too expensive. I could never get on air. Well, nonsense. $50 a month. Total Truth Broadcasting Live Support will have you up and running in minutes, and with the click of a mouse, you're on the air when you want to be, saying what you want to say. Oh, and did I mention this low monthly rate also includes a chat room? Yes, that's right, your very own chat room. Another cool tool to share ideas and information. Do you belong to a community organization? Imagine your organization with its own radio station. Or perhaps share a station with another club. Broadcast news, sporting events, results, upcoming meetings or gatherings, and use your chat room to keep in touch. All for just $50 a month. It's a great way to communicate with your members, and truly very easy to do. Listen, folks, if this technology existed back then, the cavemen would have been doing it. So get on over to TotalTruthRadio.com, where you'll find details on this wonderful opportunity to own your own radio station.
TotalTruthRadio.com. All right, thanks for listening while we take that short break here at Revolution Radio, FreedomSlips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
Can you hear me? Oh, I see it still.
Yeah.
I know you can. I'm talking to the talking to Nighthawk. Oh, you can hear me. I don't know how you can hear me because it looks like we're still calling into the line. But welcome back to this edition of the Impact Zone, everyone. This is your host, Francis Walsh. I have my guest, Billy, Mr. Tutu from YouTube. How you doing, Billy? And thank you again. You know us hosts, we thank so much. It sounds like we're thanking too much, but we're really not. So thank you for coming today and taking your time. Because listen, everybody, if you're listening to me, people's time is important. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come and speak to me because we haven't had a chance to speak before. And if you know me, I like to speak on air. So that's how it goes. Billy, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Creation series, my friend. Can you tell us about it? Can you tell me about it? Because I'm going to tell you, I don't know about it.
It's kind of like everything else, you know. Like I said, it's been almost 4 years now. You know, I have to say it like it is. You know, I had the dream that everybody talks about. You know, it wasn't, to me, it wasn't a dream. It happened, you know. This is truly happening to people, and just like a light switch overnight. I mean, the next day I was looking into solar panels. I actually saw a little gal from California in the university doing a little science project right here on YouTube, and she had taken some cardboard and lined it with tinfoil, and then she took a coffee can and painted it black, put some water in it. And she cut the cardboard box out into 3 sides and lined it with tinfoil and set that outside. And lo and behold, it boiled water, called a solar oven. And I looked right on into that. Within, you know, it takes me a little bit longer now than it used to. It took about 3 or 4 days. You know, I had me one built, and it was out in the front yard at 300 degrees. You know, but we were baking bread in it within a week. And I actually went back and had the first one set in a wheelbarrow so you could tilt it a little bit. I had an old wheelchair frame from my son, and I thought, wow, I could put it on here, it'd be a whole lot faster, easier to move around. And it just starts like that. I saw another video where a guy had taken a regular car battery charger and 2 pieces of pipe and stuck them in some water and hooked the car battery charger to it and produced hydrogen and oxygen just like that. You can just take the car battery and make those hydrogen balloons that I make out there in the yard, A car battery, 2 pieces of metal, and a jug of water.
Oh, yeah, I've done a lot of different things with car battery and 2 pieces of metal. So I might not have made hydrogen yet, but I've done a lot of stuff, and now I can add that to the list.
Yeah.
Let me ask a quick question then, because I'm, everybody does the research about certain things, and I'm going to tell you I don't know everything, so that's good or bad for me. Well, let me ask about the solar. I love the solar oven. She took a 3-sided box, tinfoil, and then tinfoil can and got it to boil?
Yeah, well, a coffee can, you paint the can black.
Right.
In fact, I got a video about it on my channel there.
I'm going to check it out.
It's way back, if you can find it.
Yeah.
I'll probably find it, post the link.
Because I think those things are important. Because some of the things I think about is what if, what if situation? Because, if something terrible were to happen, everybody needs to have somebody in their group who's going to snap right to it and know exactly what to do. Because every minute you waste snapping to a situation when it's really going to be bad. We're talking about the worst of the worst situations. I don't know what that's going to be. I don't know when it's going to be, but I think about it on occasion, and I tell myself I need to be able to snap to it right away, and what am I going to use, and what's going to be the best way for me to last as long as possible, and maybe even prosper. Imagine if we, as people, actually prospered after, individually. I'm sure it would be an individual might prosper, but how do I prosper? And things like that are the perfect things that I think are most important. These easy to construct, simple things that we would have maybe never thought of before, again, sitting right there in front of us the whole time, but instead of putting it underneath our chin and tanning our neck, we're boiling water to save ourselves. And I think that's really important. Now, to the hydrogen, because I've never thought about what I would use hydrogen for. And so you have a hydrogen generator, and I guess you would have a collection, you'd have something to collect it, and then you'd have some place to put it, and then it would be a cheap form of fuel to do a lot of things, I guess, huh?
That's the thing about the whole thing, I have quite long conversations myself with my creator. I have a personal relationship, as anybody should. That's an internal thing, and I think it's personal, and I think, people should just leave religion to the personal side, the spiritual side. But at any rate, when I made the fuel cell, the first thing dawns on you, man, this could run an automobile. And then you go, and I actually put it on there, and I got my truck to crank up on it. But it took 300 amps of current. There was 4 deep cycle batteries in those toolboxes on my truck out there.
Right.
And it would take, you'd have to add at least 2 more alternators, possibly 3 to the automobile. It's just totally not feasible whatsoever to try to make that much electricity. If you can make that much electricity, then you could just put electric motors on the car and just drive it like that. But nonetheless, it really dawned on me as when I did that, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And the first few people that I talked to, they were immediately, Billy, do you know how much money you can make with that, man? Do you know how much money? Every third person I talked to, you could just see the dollar signs flashing. And I thought to myself, there's no possible way that anything of a higher being could have come to me and shown me that, and that be the purpose for it. For a personal benefit, no. So I put it away. I actually put it away for a good year. I sat here and made YouTube videos about news and whatnot and other things for a very long time with it gathered dust, because I didn't know what to do with it, because I knew that was not what it was for. That was just going to make the problem worse. I mean, imagine what would happen if the whole world knew that salt water will burn. Well, they're going to find out, because it does, and it's highly flammable.
Well, okay, well, then let me say this.
In the wrong hands, this is just going, look what we do with oil. It's costing us out the butt, and we're still killing for it. Imagine what happens when that goes.
Well, I mean, we must understand that oil, by its very nature and by the very designation of being a fossil fuel and a scarce product, it's a commodity that's used against us, okay? And it will be, and in fact, we should have moved on past oil a long time ago. And I look back to Who Killed the Electric Car. Billy, back in the...
boy.
Yeah, have you seen that video?
Oh, yes, sir. I actually burned that on DVD to put in my little library.
Yeah, and if people don't know, that's about General Motors' car, the EV1. It's electric vehicle one.
I highly recommend everybody watch that.
And what General Motors did is they leased those cars to owners. And those cars were great. They were loved by their owners. And at that time, if you remember, they were trying to push hydrogen in California so that they wouldn't have to do electric vehicles. The thing that they did in California is they used California to mess up the whole electric program by introducing hydrogen. But unfortunately, hydrogen is very hard to make work. Mm-hmm. But in the process, they killed all the electric vehicle initiatives over that time. And so now you have a group of people who love a car, who would buy it in a second, but General Motors made all those people give those cars back, and they took them from them, and they crushed them. And they took them off the market. They crushed every one of them. And there's a video called Who Killed the Electric Car, and you should watch it because the people who made the electric car killed the electric car, and it was a good car. And so, yeah, I think on that premise, but let me get back to this thing about, okay, individual hydrogen use and creation. It takes a real, let me just say this right. I believe it would take a very smart person to take the hydrogen he or she created and then make the equipment that can run off it that will enhance their life. You know, when I'm thinking about personal hydrogen creation at this point for myself, I'm thinking that the things, you know, the equipment that I would run with it is going to be so hard to adapt to hydrogen that I'm thinking hydrogen may be, you know, that big. You know, I don't want to turn. You know, I don't know what to think about it yet, but I don't think I have the smarts to turn hydrogen into something that's gonna take me further through survival. Have you found a use for your own generator outside of some? You know, what are some of the uses you've had for your hydrogen?
It certainly can be used to fuel the gas combustion engine now as we speak. There's so much, the propaganda masters, they are something else, but I'm going to tell you. Did you read the piece that they just put out about the electric car putting out more emissions than the gas engine?
No, I haven't.
Just the last week on Daily Mail that went, you know, around the world, but at any rate, they did tests and studies showed that in China, where they have a lot of electric vehicles, that the electric vehicle actually caused an increase in greenhouse gas simply because you have to plug it in, and you know, the coal plant has to provide the energy to recharge it.
Yeah, I know that argument.
But the thing is, you know, nobody put that's because they totally ignored the solar generator altogether. The electric motor doesn't put out any emission as far as greenhouse or ozone, you know, and neither does a charging battery. They might emit some types of radiation, but they'll be lower levels. You know, we live with electric motors and batteries all day long. At any rate, I got a golf cart out here that plugs right into the solar generator. It never needs gas, and it don't put out any emissions whatsoever. The hydrogen, it's going to have to be split. And there are people on YouTube who sent me things. I haven't even had time to look into it because really, you know, there's so many people just already on top of the fact. You know, if you split the gas, if you can split the hydrogen and oxygen into just pure hydrogen, then that's a whole lot safer to store. You know, if you store hydrogen and oxygen together in a tank, that is a bomb. That's a bomb waiting to go. So you need to store hydrogen alone by itself, and then mix it in a propane conversion kit on an automobile.
Yeah, I know.
You can run hydrogen in place of propane. very easily.
Yeah, that's true too. That's a good one to break, because I know all about the I used to work on a lot of diesel trucks, and they do a propane conversion for the diesel trucks, and that is true.
And
but
I've been in the gas company for 20-something years. So.
But then I guess I'd have to learn about the collection of hydrogen, the compression, or I guess the cooling or whatever, because I guess. Yeah, but see, there's a lot of technical difficulties with working with a fuel like hydrogen, and but you would think that the powers that be are doing something, but no, I am under the understanding that our powers that be want us consumed by the New World Order in some form or fashion. So they're really gonna put the hurt on us, and then they're gonna use it as our savior and make us think that we're being saved, and the only way out of our trouble is by joining everyone else around the world as one. You know what I mean? And it's not the way I want to go.
If it don't have a meter on it, they don't want nothing to do with it, because then they can't charge it.
Ask Nikola Tesla.
Solar generator, man. I mean, you watch what they throw under the bus, then you know that's what you need to be doing. When the government, that mess they went through with that solar company just a while back. And the fact that they can, even Ford crushed cars too. Ford made pickup trucks, totally electric, Ford Ranger pickup trucks.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That they know that if you figure out that you can charge that car at home for free during the day or at work, if you put a solar generator at work, anybody pulls in there can pull in and plug up, and that takes you completely off the fossil fuel grid, period.
And that's great. I mean, I remember one day I was looking back. If you go find an image of the rooftops of Google's corporate headquarters, wherever it is, every inch of roof, every inch of parking space, and they've got those little canopies over each. How you'll go to a big parking lot and they've got those rows of whatever they call them, like a little pavilions that you park under. Google's got them all over the parking lot, and every one of them is covered with solar panels. They are, so I think, that right there is an example of how a big corporation can do a good thing with that energy, but they're doing it for themselves, and then the people who are supposed to be doing it for the people, the small groups, government agencies that are supposed to be promoting a better world for its people are more concerned about themselves, are more concerned about burning as much oil as they can get their hands on. And when you said if it doesn't have a meter, it won't come to fruition, you can go all the way back to 1903 when J.P. Morgan walked into Nikola Tesla's office and said, "Where do you put the meter?" And Nikola Tesla said, "There is no meter." And J.P. Morgan yanked $150,000 out and basically closed Nikola Tesla down when he said there was no place for a meter.
Yep, you're absolutely right. I call that the Back to the Future moment right there. In the movie Back to the Future, when time skews off on this tangent and civilization actually goes off in the wrong direction. We did that 100 years ago. We did that. We did that. They did that to us.
And, I was talking to someone this week. I don't know if I was talking to a man named Gary, Mad Martian, and he looks at the time, what's going on in our time, our past, our present, our future. He looks at it in that way. He looks at it at time as if we're already traveling time. You know what I mean? He'll look at something that happened 6 months ago, that because it's going to affect something in the future, that person who did that thing 6 months ago was traveling time. And I can see that as a reasonable way to look at things, though it's totally atypical. Because he has more, he thinks other people are thinking just like him. But when you look at it from a regular, the plumber's point of view or whatever, I see it, and I can relate how something that I did 6 months ago, I'm traveling time because 6 months later it's affecting me this way, that way, or that way. Mm-hmm. But of course, I didn't know, exactly what would happen in the future, anyways. But the past has definitely affected the future. And whether people recognize what they're doing in the present and how much it will affect us in the future, we should recognize that we can only affect one moment, and that's now. And when you affect it, if you affect it in a bad way, that will carry out into the future. And I really wish for mankind, you know, I get an underlying sense for myself, and this is my own sense, whether it's a security blanket for myself. I get a sense that I'll probably, you know, leave Earth under my own, you know, at my own time. I'm hoping for that as well. I mean, at least, I know that others don't think like that, but I hope that all of us get a chance just to do what we're supposed to do here on Earth, even if it is researching the end of Earth or the end of days or relationships with our spirituality. Take time to do it, but don't forget about, you know, telling people you love them and being nice to your loved ones and your wife. And I know it's hard. I mean, I personally know that it's hard to do everything in life, but you're not alone. You're not alone, Mr. Too Tough. I'm not alone, right?
No, well, we are all here together. I mean, that's the one thing we all forget, man. The reason why we truly here, that's for each other, you know. Because if you really look at, you know, it's like any type of physics equation. You bring it down to its simplest form before you try to solve it, you know. And if you look at the human or any really type of biological life, there's very few animals that can just be born right out onto the ground and survive. And in fact, a human being has to have another human being for, what, nowadays up until you're 18 years old. Most kids can't survive even after that, you know. But nonetheless, an infant won't survive an hour without someone there to pick it up. You know,
yeah,
they're here for each other. That's the basics of the entire system. You know, well, evolution can't get past that part.
That's a good
the chicken or the egg deal. They can't get past. And to me, how can you have an entire theology set up on something that you couldn't get past the fundamental question to begin with? I don't know how they do that, but science is really good at doing that very thing.
Well, I really, you know, the one thing I have the hardest time dealing with is dogma. I mean, whether it be one dogma or another dogma, or dogma chasing its tail, karma, religion. It
always turns out to be money, you know it?
Yeah, that is the one. But listen, we're out of minutes. But I want to thank you for coming on today. This is a short show today. During the first show I do today is an hour, and then I'll come back on from 8 to 10 p.m. and do Collision Course. But this was a perfect time and a perfect show to have you come on. And I want to, you know, if you are hot on the trail of something, will you let me know, and then I can have you come on and tell everybody?
It's time, brother, yeah. It's time. I sure do it.
Okay.
The time is now. Okay. We need to speak or forever hold our peace.
All right. Mr. Too Tough, it's been great. I really appreciate it. But I'm going to, I guess we're going to part because the end of the show is coming. Listeners, please, if you see Mr. Too Tough, you can find him on youtube.com/user/ is it Mr. Too Tough 2 now?
Yeah.
So we got MR2 Tough 2.
Yeah.
So go there, see what he's got going on, tell him hello, tell him thank you for coming, and we really do appreciate it. And listen, our listeners, our friends are going to tell us what's going on, and when the time comes for us to come together again, I'm sure we'll be there together talking about what we need to be talking about, my friend.
Be glad to do it, bro. Okay. That's what it's all about.
Have a great weekend. Listen, tomorrow night, if you're not doing anything, nightskiesnetwork.com, see what's going on at the observatory. We got lots of stuff going on. Started about 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Well, be sure to check it out, man.
Okay. See you later, Mr. Too Tough.
All right. Thanks, Francis.
You're welcome, my friend.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, everyone. If you're still there, we're coming to them. 4:55 p.m., 5:55 p.m. in New York City. It's Friday night, February 24th. Cosmic Obsession Observatory First Light Week, Day 6. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? We're almost here. We're almost over. We're almost by first light on Saturday, February 25th. I'll tell you last night, because there's been a lot of work going on, a lot of work going on at the observatory. We had some hurdles to overcome last night. Almost thought that we almost thought we were going to have to hold off, but we're not. So tomorrow, I'm sure you know where I'm going to say, nightskiesnetwork.com. Come over there. Listen to freedomslips.com and watch nightskiesnetwork.com while we're doing our setups, our webcam. We're going to have all the telescopes out. Everything's going. John Zascoda from the Stranger Advice Radio. StrangerAdviceRadio.com. My good friend John and his friend, our friend Stephen Sharpton, are coming all the way down from Dallas, going to take the 5-hour drive and come down and check it out with us. And I think it's going to be a really, well, you only get once to have First Light. So it's going to be the one and only First Light for Cosmic Obsession Observatory. But once we get by this, it'll be research all the way. So I'm going to see you in a couple of hours. I'll be back for Collision Course, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on freedomslips.com. Hey, click on the site support, donate, support your favorite show, sponsor your favorite show, sponsor Collision Course. We'll see you in a couple of hours. Bye.